actually wonder why you need one of these academic portfolios. For your publications, they're already on platforms like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and Scopus, to name a few. Well, the major reason why we actually need this portfolio is because it captures everything about you. So your your CV, your publications, your projects, the teachings, conferences, talks you've given, blog posts, tutorials, and the list goes on. So it also makes you look intentional about the kind of work that you are doing. So just think of it as one-stop shop where people come to visit and they know all about you. So the result of what we've been building is what I've showcased in the last minute or so. So I'll try to make this section as non-technical as possible. And once again, you can follow along if you want to follow along. And you don't need to follow along. You can just pay attention to maybe by tomorrow at the latest, you have this particular session online, so you'll be able to follow along from there. And I want us to come with an open mind. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them when we are done with the session. Another thing I will also advise is at the end of the session, even if you don't have any questions, and maybe later on when you are setting up this, you run into one or two hiccups, I'll try to make sure that we don't have any hiccup. But if we run into one or two problems, you can always reach out to me and I'll be very glad to help. So for the plan for today, I believe you can see my screen. For the plan for today, we'll be setting up Markdown files. We'll learn about Markdown files. So some of us are already conversant with Markdown files. Then we'll learn about the syntax for Markdown files. They are like it's very, very simple. Then secondly, we'll be looking at GitHub as a platform. Then thirdly, we'll build the academic portfolio. So in the next 1 hour or so, we should be able to capture all of these things. So the first two are briefs. The third one is where we'll spend more time. So for Markdown files, a vast majority of the files that we'll actually be creating. So when you check this website now, like maybe these talks, for example, this talk on the conference that somebody attended and this and that. So this is a Markdown file. Like in the background is a Markdown file that is displaying on the page. So that we can be able to create these Markdown files and be able to format them the way we want, we have to quickly look at Markdown files. So they are like text files similar to your Microsoft Word files, but the only difference is how we format our headings. So the headings, something like the emphasis, like bold, italics, then lists, images, links, and so on. So Markdown files, they actually use format, like they use symbols to format text, and we'll learn the very basics in little to no time. So what I'll do now is I'll provide a very handy cheat sheet in the comment section. Just give me a minute. I'll provide a very handy cheat sheet in the comment section, and so that's the link to the cheat sheet. Then I would also provide another link that we can visit and play along. So essentially, we would visit that first link now, and this is the link. So we're going to be looking at the basic syntax. So the basic syntax for markdowns, we have headings. So for headings, we have 6 kind of headings, 6 hierarchy of headings. So we have H1, H2 up until H6. So the heading 1 is greater than heading 2, greater than heading 3, and heading 6 is the smallest. So when we say headings, we'll actually play around and check what it actually means. So it's like your heading for your file, for your page. So for example, if I come to the pages, here is an heading 1. This is the largest heading we can have. So we can have smaller headings in the page and so on and so forth. So we have heading 1. Heading 1 is usually our title. Then any other heading in the page can be heading 2. Then maybe a smaller heading can be heading 3, and so on and so forth. So for your bold text, if you want to write bold text, we use the asterisk symbol. So 2 asterisk symbols like this on the left and on the right. Then it is very important to note that let me go back to the heading. For the headings, we use hash symbol to create headings. So a single hash symbol represents heading 1. Then we have like space in between the hash and the text in question. So I can write maybe conference here now. But if you join them together, it will not work. So you have to make sure that there is a space between the hash symbol and whatever heading you are writing. So for the heading 2, you use double hash symbols. For heading three, triple hash symbols, and you get the gist. You get to heading six, so that would be six hash symbols. Now for both texts, we use asterisks. So for asterisks, we you have to ensure that you have two asterisks on the left and two on the right. Now the major thing to note here is that before, immediately after the asterisk sign, the second asterisk sign, you have to make sure that your text follows. So there's no space. Then you can write as many text as you want. Then immediately after the last text too, you have to make sure there's no space before you put in your double asterisk sign. So the same thing apply for your italic text. So you use a single asterisk sign, and the same way you make sure there's no space. Then afterwards, you also make sure there's no space. So for ordered lists now, when you want to create a list of items like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, you use one followed by dots. Then you add the space. Then you can list your items. So the moment you just hit on enter, it will be creating the numbers for you the same way we have them in Word, Microsoft Word. So to keep on creating the number for you till you are done, you can escape it when you are done. So for unordered lists or bullet point, this is how the syntax is for unordered list. You use the dash symbol, space, then followed by the list item you want to write. Now we can have like maybe this first item, then have sub items inside it. So if I want to have a sub item inside of this first item, all I need to do is when I click on enter, I need to just press tab. So we'll check out how that looks. Now for horizontal rule, we use three dash, just three dash symbols. So what this will do is just create a line on your page, like a line. So I don't know if there's any line on this page. Yeah, this line now, this line here is like an horizontal row. So something like that. This line here is also an horizontal row. So you just create, you create that using three dash symbols. Now, if you want to attach a link, the title to your link, you put it inside square bracket. Then immediately after, you open parentheses, so this curved bracket, and you put in the link you want. So on the page, it will show this, but it will underline it so that they will know that it's a link. Then they can click on the link and visit the link. So for image, we use the same thing. The only difference is that you put an exclamation mark before the square bracket. So then this alternative text is in the event that your image does not load. So for example, maybe you are using a URL now to display the image. So maybe the URL you entered is wrong, then the alternative text will show instead of the image. So I'll show us how to use URLs for images. Then in case we want to actually upload our own images instead of using external URLs, I also show us how to do that. So I think for the next 1 or 2 minutes, we'll quickly check out this very handy playground for Markdown. So I attached the link already to the comment section. So it's called Dillinger for .io. So for headings now, we'll start with headings, and I'll quickly paste in some headings that I have here. So for example, this is heading 1. So I can write it as any text I want. I can write conference, and I have it like that. So the gotcha here is if I do like this now, it doesn't work because there's no space. So I have to make sure there's a space, there's spacing between them. So I told us we can have 6 kind of headings. So we have them like this. Heading 2 is smaller than heading 1. Heading 3 is smaller than heading 2, and heading 6 is the smallest. So I've zoomed in this page very well so that we can see them. That's why it looks, the pages, they look big. So for both texts, I told us that we use double asterisk symbol, double asterisk. So I can do like this and just write um, this this text is bold, and I scroll down here. This is it here. This text is bold. So I can do the same thing for italics. So I would remove one of this and one of this, and I'll change this to like this. So this is italic symbol. So if you want maybe something like a block quote, for example, I don't really know. You might need it. I don't really use it that much, but it's also available for you. Then for list items, we can have um, list one, list two, and list three. So if we check on the page, this is how it shows up, list item. So if, for example, I have something inside of this one, I want another list inside of this, I can say sub lists, then sub lists, so second like that. And that's pretty much it. So if I want bullet point instead inside, I can do something like dash and say sub list, then sub list like this. So essentially this is how to show up on the page. So this is it. So for another list, again, we use the dash followed by the space, and So that handy cheat sheet is just there for you. You can always use it at every point in time. So if you have maybe code syntax on your page, we use um, we use backticks. So backticks, they are just above your tab keyboard, tab button on your keyboard. So you use this tab like this, and you put it. So this is how you format it. Now for links, links are quite simple to write. So you just write the link to, maybe this is Facebook. You want to attach Facebook and this, and you just you put it like that. So maybe facebook.com. So if we check here now, we'll see Facebook. And if I open this maybe in a new tab, so it opens up Facebook for us. So essentially, it will show up Facebook on the page, and that's what we're interested in. So, for example, we might now want to do the same thing for maybe an image. So let's assume we want to put in an image of a computer. So I want to show that maybe in the event that the link does not work, this what do they call it? The text will show up instead. So this is a random image from unsplash.com, and I want the image to actually be that of a computer. So if we check now, the image is showing on the page. So this is how everything we've written, this is how it looks like. So the image is showing. Now, for example, if I mistakenly entered the wrong address, so the image will show up like this now. Computer is showing up instead. So that's why we have this alternative text. And I think that's pretty much it. So for the final, this thing, we need horizontal lines. And if we check this now, we find out that there's a very nice horizontal line at the bottom. So basically, these are the syntax that you majorly use: headings, bold symbols, and the likes. Then maybe lists and links, and then images. Then horizontal rules. So try to keep this handy cheat sheet with you. It's very helpful. So basically, we'll go back now and we see that the next item on our agenda is GitHub. So come to github.com. So I'll attach the link. Some of us already have GitHub accounts. People that usually write codes, they already have GitHub accounts. So GitHub is like a web-based hosting service for version control. So it is a platform where software developers generally, these are the major users of GitHub, they come to store their code and they can track changes to their code over time. So you visit github.com. Then, for example, if I'm just opening a new account, I click on sign up. Then I'll provide my email. So, for example, I can say maybe Sam, maybe also something like this. This is not a real email, but let's just play around. Then continue. We create a password. So for the password we are creating, you try to create a password that's at least 8 characters in length. Then there should be at least one lowercase letter and a number too attached. So, for example, I can create something along the lines of like this. So it tells me that password is strong. Then enter a username. Now, for this username, because we are academic people, I would really advise that you use a very, very descriptive username. So something like maybe your initials. So, for example, if my name is Samuel Aregbesola, so I already have this kind of GitHub. You see, this username is not available because this is me. So I use Sam Aregbesola. So, for example, I can also use S Aregbesola like this. And this is available. This is not available. So somebody else has used it. That is not me, but somebody else has used it. So the point is, try to use something descriptive. Use your name, just maybe a combination of your name. So I can maybe Tayo Shobo Wale or something like that. And this is available, so I can continue. So maybe that's my name. So it asked me if I would like to receive product updates and announcements via email, and I probably want to do that. So I'll say yes. Now, the last part is this puzzle, just to confirm that you are a human being. So if you click on start puzzle, it says pick one square that shows two identical objects. So in this image here, I think this is identical. So that's one. Then this is also identical. So that's two. So it confirms that we are human beings, and we click on create account. So because I already have an account, I will not be clicking on create account. So basically, ensure that you also verify your mail. If you check your mail, you will receive, like, they'll send you a mail to tell you to verify. Now, I think we're done with the registration. So for GitHub, this is essentially how the interface looks like. So the GitHub codes, they are usually stored in repositories. So this is repositories. So we store GitHub codes in repositories, or repos for short. Now, a user can create as many repositories as possible. For example, I have like a couple of repositories here. So Another thing that is very good about GitHub is that you can copy another user's repo, and we call the name of that, we call it fork, like fork. So that's the name. That's what we do when we want to copy somebody's repo. So actually, the template we'll be using today is provided by Academic Pages. So it is like a platform that provided a template for us. And if we check this fork icon here, so I'll provide the link to the repo that we'll be actually copying. I'll provide it here. So I'll provide it in the description and in the comment section rather. So what we are trying to do is they have this nice template, and the template is what we represented here. So I've made a little bit of modification to it because normally you would have needed to download this as a code, then go and edit it from your local file and something like that. But I know that not everybody is interested in coding, so that's why I try to remove that part and actually make it quite easy for us to be able to work from directly from this web page from github.com. So that's why this is hosted on one of my GitHub, my second GitHub account, just for the purpose of this meeting and for the purpose of whoever is going to be visiting this page. So I've edited the config file so that we can make changes directly from GitHub here. So all you have to do is visit this link that I've sent. So if you visit the link, this is how it looks like. So this is the code, and what you want to do is click on the fork button here, and for the repository name, now you created a username. For me, for example, now my main page, my username is Sam Aregbeshola. So you want to make sure that you edit the username here and change it to that's your username. So this is my username now is Sam Aregbeshola.github.io. It's very important that this is there. The .github.io is there. Then you just add your own username. Then for the description, I can decide to make the description quite like maybe quite explanatory, just one line of explanatory text, and say an academic portfolio for Samuel Aregbesola, so something like this. So then I can click on create fork. So that's also it's loading now. Then immediately it has loaded. This is how it looks like now. So this is now my own property. So if you check at the top here, you see that this is me, Sam Aregbesola, and this is my own. It is now my own repo, my own repository. So if you check now, there's a link here already, but this is not my own username. So I want to change this to samaregbeshola.github.io. So you want to make sure you change that link. That's the first point of action. So once again, you just click on settings here, website, and you change the link to this. Now this link will not be working yet, so we have to make sure that it works now. So we save the change. Then to make sure that this works, you click on settings, and at the top left, this settings here, somewhere around the center at the top here. So you click on settings, then you locate pages. So if I click on pages, then I see deploy from a branch, source, deploy from a branch. So it's very important. So you can click on GitHub Actions or deploy from a branch, but just leave it as is, deploy from a branch. Then for the branch, they said we need to select the particular branch we'll be deploying from. So you want to look for master, then ensure that this is slash root. So master and slash root, then click on save. So now that page will actually be active. So because it will now go that, okay, this is where I'm going to deploy from. So for every change we make, I also want us to know that it will take like 2 to 3 minutes for it to actually reflect on our web page. So for example, now it is trying to deploy. So if I refresh, it is still deploying. So to take like 2 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes, I'll come back to this page. So what I want to do now is I'll right click on this part and duplicate this particular page so that I can have one for the pages. Then I can have one where I can just be checking my repo and making changes to it. So I'll click on this or click on code, and it will show me back my code. Now, these blue icons, they represent folders. So every folder, they have different files inside of every of these folders. But we also have file, that's these white symbols, they represent files. So the most important file that we're actually considering is this config file. This is where you are going to provide a lot of details about your page. So what we're going to do is click on that config file. Then we have this kind of setup. I think I'll zoom in one more time. So we have this kind of setup, and I believe we can all see my screen. So is it clear enough? Anybody? Is it clear enough?
Yes.
All right, I think that's fine. I think I have my response. So, what we are going to be doing is you click on this pencil like icon. It means edit this file. So when we click on this pencil like icon, the title is your name. So you want to put in change this Samuel Aregbesola to your own name. Then the name here you also change to your name. Now this portfolio, an academic portfolio, you change to your name. Now this URL is very important. So you see that you want to change it to your page, like your username.github.io. So I'll change this to Sam, for example, arekweshola.github.io is very important. Then another important part I want to change is this repository. So if you scroll up, this is your repository here at the top. Your name, your username slash the name of this particular repo. So my username is Sam Arekweshola. So I'll remove this Samuel and leave it as Sam Arekweshola. Then the repository link is samarekweshola.github.io. So I'll change that too. So you have to ensure that you change it. So it's very important, or everything we'll be doing today will not work. So I think that's pretty much it. Then I can scroll down and check for site author. Yes. So you scroll down to where we have site author. Then the name of the author is, maybe I can change this to Samuel Aregbesola. Then you leave this avatar as profile.png. So for example, maybe I want to change my bio to researcher. So researcher. So the bio is this, what we have here. Student now, for example, in this case. So let me zoom this. Let me zoom in here. So this student here is the bio for the original stuff. So I want to change mine. I want it to show researcher instead. So this person wrote that is located on the earth. So for example, maybe I'm located in Daegu, South Korea, for example. So I can change this to Daegu, South Korea. Then I have this link to PubMed. So I don't have a PubMed account, for example. So I can decide to just delete all of this. Maybe my Google Scholar link, I can attach it here for this meeting. I will not be going to look for my Google Scholar link, but you can always do that in the future. You can attach your ResearchGate link. So all I have to just do is attach the link like this. Make sure that whatever you're attaching, it follows this format of where you have double quotes like this. Then you have the link inside of it. So there's no space. Just put the link inside of it. Then for my GitHub account is Sam Aregbesola. That's my username. Then if you have an OSID account too, you put in your OSID URL here. If you have a Stack Overflow account, Twitter account, so you can add as many links, YouTube account. So immediately you get to Wikipedia. I think we're done with this config file. So all I want to do is one more time, I'll scroll up to confirm that everything I want is there. So the name is correct. So the name is correct. This avatar will leave as is. The bio is correct. My location is correct the way I want it. I'll check all of my links, Google Scholar. If I want my email, I can add my email, for example, and say Samuel Aregbesola at gmail.com. Then close it with these quotes. ResearchGate, I can add that later, and all of this. So even Facebook account, anything I want to add, then I can scroll back up here and also confirm that the title is correct. That's my name. This name is correct. This is correct. Then this URL I told us is very important, and the repository is also very important. So from there, everything is as is. I like it. Then I have to click on this commit changes. That's this green button at the top right here. So I click on commit changes. So I can leave the commit message as is, or I can even say, so if you're interested in, many people are not interested in editing it, you can just say, I update the configuration file that way and commit changes. So it has saved those changes. Now, I want us to note that it will take 3 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes for this to reflect on our page. So because I opened a new tab with pages, if I refresh these pages, you'll see that your site is live at samaregbeshola.github.io now. So if I click on this link, now, I can see that this is my own site now. So the new changes I just made, they are not yet there. So for example, I change this to researcher. Then if I check the Twitter link, it might not work here. But in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I'll come and refresh this page again, and you'll see that it has made those changes. So while we wait for those changes to be updating in the background, we want to move to the next important folder. Now, if you check this page, you realize that there's publications, this navigation link. There's publications, there's talks, there's teaching, there's portfolio, there's blog posts, there's CV, there's guide. So this guide is just showing you how to use Markdown files. So personally, I don't teach, for example. So I don't need this teaching, whatever here. This portfolio, I don't have any major project I'm working on now, so I don't need it here. Then also this guide is not really useful for any of us. So I want to remove 1, 2, 3. So what I'll do is come here and I'll scroll through these folders and locate the I think the data folder. Then if you check data folder, you'll see a file called navigation.yml, and you click on it. So again, let me start again. So if you scroll, you see underscore data on the left here, and I click on it, and I click on navigation.yml. So if you check this navigation.yml, you realize that these are all of the those things that are showing up in this place, on this navbar. So what I want to do is click on this edit same way. Now I don't need this guide, so I can remove the title and the URL. I obviously need the CV, so I will leave it. Maybe I want to write blog posts in the future, so I will leave it. This portfolio I'm teaching, I don't teach, I don't have any portfolio I'm adding, I'm including. So I will just clear them that way. Then I will make sure that everything looks good. So if you don't keep this exact format, then there will be a problem, because it might not. If you click on commit in the background, it will continue trying to commit, but it will not work. So you have to be very, very sure that okay, this thing is the same way it is, like everything is as it's supposed to be. So the way it is here, and I just click on commit changes. So I can say update navigation, but whatever, I'm not interested in changing the message. I just click on commit changes. Also note that this change will take 2 to 3 minutes to come to actually showcase on our website. So if I refresh this now, so a change was made 2 minutes ago. So if I come back here and I refresh now, you check that this message is now showing researcher now. So my website is showing researcher now. So then my address has changed to Daegu, South Korea. If I click on the Twitter now, it will take them. If I click on this Twitter, for example, it will take the person to my Twitter account. So everything is working as I want now. Now, what is left is that these navigations, they've not yet changed. So very soon, maybe in like 2 minutes, it will change. So I need to go back to since I'm still in this data folder, I want to check the authors.yml. So this authors is for blog authors. So you are the only one that has access to this your portfolio. So that means you are the ones that will be creating maybe blog details on your website. So you want to change this name to your name. So Samuel Agbeshola, for example. So maybe I want to attach link to my LinkedIn. So I can attach link to my LinkedIn like this and say maybe this is my LinkedIn. Listen, then my email I can change to. So this is just a very quick change. .com. Then maybe my bio I want to just show maybe researcher or something like that. Then I think I can attach a link to my Twitter too if I want. So I don't have Google Plus, so I can leave as this. I can maybe just delete this, for example, and or leave it as this before. Just leave it the way and commit changes. So I commit the changes, and once again to take maybe 2-3 minutes for this particular new change to show. So if I go back to our pages now and I refresh, there's a change that has been made 1 minute ago. So if I refresh my page now, I realize that those 3 links I deleted, they are no longer showing on my page. So it's very, very easy. So the first thing, once again, I'll try to go back to what we did. So the first thing we did was we came to this underscore data file, or first thing, we actually edited the config.yml, not config dev now, config.yml. We changed the title, we changed our name, we changed this URL. I told us it's very important. Then we changed the repository. Then we came to where we have site author and changed the name, change our bio, change our location, attached all of our links. Then we saved this file. Then we came to this folder, data folder, and we edited the navigation. We removed 3 navigations. Then we changed the author here for the blog authors to our own name, since we are the only one that will be setting up stuff. Now, the next thing I want to set up is images. So if I come here, there's supposed to be, my image is supposed to be somewhere here. But this one is showing like one blank image. Let me zoom into the page fully. So this is showing like one demo image, one dummy image. So I want to change that image. So what I'll do is come to images folder, click on images. You realize that there are a couple of images there. Now I want to click on this folder itself. Then at the top here, top right, I can find add file. So this add file, I want to add images. So I can add as many images as I want. But there's something I want us to notice. If we go back to the config.yml file, you realize that you will see something they called avatar under site author. This author here. The avatar is named profile.png. Profile.png. Now, if we go back to images, you'll see that there's an image called profile.png. So if I click on that image, do you see it? This is the image. So that's the image that is displaying on the page. So what I want to do now is make sure that I click on images like this folder and add file. Now, on my own personal folder in my desktop, I would save the image as PNG and name it profile.png. So it has to be like, name it just profile. It has to be a PNG image. So if your image that you have is a JPEG image, you can just come online and say JPEG to PNG converter and convert it. So just make sure that the image is in PNG format, then upload and convert whatever you want to convert. But me, I already have the image in PNG and I've renamed it on my folder, in my folder to profile.png. So I'll click on upload files now. Then I can choose files for my desktop, come to pictures. Now I have this profile.png and I can open it and it has uploaded the profile.png. Now for our talk session later, I'll also be including an image. So I want to add that image now. So you can add as many images as you want. So this is talk one. So I'll add this to so that when we create the talk session, we'll be able to use it. So I can show you how we do that. When I'm satisfied, so you can always come back to add images as many as you want. So you just commit changes and that's all. So those images they've been added to your files. Now, if I click on images, the profile image here now would have changed to from that previous one. I'm not sure. I think it's still waiting. It does not yet change. So this orange is still showing that it's still changing. So if I refresh this page, this page's page does not yet make the change that I want to make. So we'll wait for a while, maybe 2 minutes, then we'll come back to check it and see that it has changed. So let's go back to the code we have. Now, the next thing we want to do is create I think apart from images, we can also create files. So if I come to files now, we realize that we have paper1.pdf. So these are like demo papers. For example, now maybe you have access to some of your journals that you publish, your journal articles that you publish. So, and they allow you to be able to like save those files. You can easily upload them here and have them on your portfolio page. So when we come to publications page, you find that this is paper. So this is paper number one. And if I click on download paper here, to download that paper one. So this one is paper three rather. So this is a sample PDF. So for example, now I can delete these samples that they have here or upload. If I have any PDF I want to upload, I can upload it. If it's a doc file you want to upload, you can easily upload it. So to upload this, you just click on upload files and upload them, and that's pretty much it. So the major thing I want us to know is that when you upload those files, please give them names that don't have space, like the way we have paper one now together. So you can have them like that, or you can have something like if I type here, I can have something like um maybe machine learning. Then I put spacing like this. I put an hyphen like dash in between them. So and we're pretty much set. So .pdf or whatever would take from your file extension. So please just try to make sure that there's no space for whatever files you are uploading. So let's go back to our code. So that's for files. Now for about, we'll go to pages, this pages folder, and click on about. So this about here is a markdown file now. So that's why we have to learn about markdown files. So if you check it, this is about.md. So .md is the extension for the file format for markdown files. Same way for portable document files, you have .pdf. For your Word files, you have .doc and the rest. So when you see .md, it's a markdown file. So if I click on this edit this file. So this title that we see here is our H1, our heading one that we talked about the other time. So I can edit this now and say Samuel Aregbesola like this. Now, let's say, for example, I want to talk about myself here. So I want to talk about myself, talk about my hobbies, talk about everything. So this stuff, this what we are editing here is what you will find when you come to this website at first. So this place, I am a highly motivated, blah, 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 like this. So this here is what you find. Do we understand that? So that's what you find. So you want to make sure that you write, this is what people see the first time they come to your page. So you can edit this, you can format it, you can add numbers, you can add other headings. I can add heading 2, for example, and say maybe Sean, for example, like this. Then maybe I can add another heading and say hobbies like this. So then I can even add maybe a line to separate education and hobbies. So that will be three dashes, then 3 dashes here. And I will just click on, when I'm done, I'll click on commit changes and commit changes. So the key thing is this page is what will show up whenever someone comes to your website like this. So that's what will show up initially. So the next thing we want to look at is the talks page. But before we look at the talks page, this talks I feel like is very important because majorly most of what we like our online, they don't really capture what we actually like. You want to really talk about what you actually talked about. Maybe this is what I talked about. Even provide images. Maybe you can even provide like the kind of PowerPoint you use. So you can just write it in Markdown format and upload it here. So what you want to do is go back to code, then locate publications, talks rather. So this is talks. Now we have four different dummy talks here. I'm not sure if we have time to still. I think yes. So we have another meeting link for 9 to 10 p.m. because for the free tier of Google Meet now, they give us just 1 hour. So Google has reduced time for calls to 1 hour. So what I want us to do is hop on the WhatsApp, check on the WhatsApp, or better still, I think I'll copy the link and paste it in the description here. Yes. So I think somebody has done that for us. So what we want to do is click on that meeting link and actually join the next meeting. So we'll be starting by 9. So please, that's in 1 minute time. Try to click on the next meeting. So we'll continue from there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, take reading.
Okay. I think people have joined. So we'll give people maybe 1 more minute to join, then we'll proceed. So in the meantime, I'll share my screen. All right. I think people are already coming back. So please, whoever is not muted, please can you mute your mic for now? All right. So I think we can continue for now. Okay. Please can you hear me? And can you see my screen? All right. So yes, so we're back here. So these are the folders again and the files. So now I want to look at this stock section. So let's go back to our website. I think some of the last changes we made, they should be reflecting now. So yes, so if I refresh this page, my profile image is showing now. So this is me on the left now. So it looks very professional now. Then the editing I made with the markdown files at the other time. So you can see them now that okay, this is working. So I added hobbies like this, added this underline. So essentially, it's just markdown files that we'll be editing majorly. So want to come to this talk section now, and this is demo like just they just provided maybe 4 demo um, talks for demo purposes. So we'll click on talks here. Then what I want to do is I'll delete 3 of these files. I'll show us how to delete some of those demo stuff that they have. Then we'll keep one of those files because we need to make sure that we maintain that template so that we don't miss that template. So what we'll do is I'll click on this one. Then there's this three dotted sign at the top here, close to the search bar. This go to file. Then there's this three dotted button. So if I click on it, if I scroll down, you see delete file. So I'll delete the file and click on commit changes. Then I can click on talk to. Also, I want to click on talk to. Then click on this again, delete file, and commit the changes. Then for talk 3, I want to also click on this, delete file, and commit the changes. So now I'll keep this one for templating purposes only. So for example, I want to edit this one now. So the same way we edit all our other files, I click on edit this file. So the title is always your H1. So let's talk about like let's say for example, want to talk about um I don't know, let's talk about something like machine learning in history. So something like that, maybe machine learning in history. So that will be the H1 on our file on our page. Then the type is stock, so we can leave it as this. Now, this date, we want to change to maybe today's date, for example. So I just modify the year and put 2024. Then this is month. So month is it follows the year format of year, month, then date. So the month will be 6. Then today is I think 24. So I can change this, for example, now. This instead of talk one, I can put something like machine learning in history. So I'm just following the templates that the kind of format that they followed, so I don't break anything. Now, this file here, I can rename it to machine learning like this, so that any talks I have in future, I can easily know which one I'm going to edit if I want to make edits to it. Now, let's say I gave this venue now. Maybe I gave it at Kyompuk. I gave this talk at Kyompuk National University. So I'll change the venue like this. Then the location of Kyompuk is Daegu, or and I put South Korea for Sangju, but then they can always write Sangju. Then for the dates here, I also want to make sure that the date is reflecting 2024. That will be 6 and 24. So I kept this file very. It's very important to keep one file just to make sure that you can use it as a template for so that you don't break stuff. So essentially, this is I changed the name here. I changed the title. I changed the permalink. So make sure that this link always this is the link to the that you visit now on your website. That will be the link that will show up that will lead us to this particular file. Then I changed the venue, I changed the date, the way their date was, and the location, the way their location was. Now, this MD file here is a markdown file. So I can write any markdown, whatever I want. So I think I actually used, I think was it yeah, I think I used so let's say I generated like a dummy text from using chat GPT, for example. So I told it to just give me like a what did they call it? A text on maybe machine learning in geotechnical engineering. So I'll paste it here. Now I want to walk us through that file. So essentially, I'm saying introduction. So this is like I told us this machine learning in history is our heading one. So that's the one with a single hash. So you don't need to write it again on this page. Now I always use only one heading on the page, like one single large heading one on the page. Then every other heading I use double heading two instead. That will be double hash space, then whatever title I want. Now, if I have another heading inside of this introduction, I will now use three hash instead. So do you understand? So it's like hierarchy. So if I have another fourth heading, I'll use the fourth one like that. But majorly, yeah, I have this introduction. Then this is another separate heading on its own, and so this is markdown. So this will list it as a list here. Then we can have this. So this will be bullet points. If you remember, dash will be bullet point. Now, what I did was that talk one that I uploaded the other time. So I uploaded the talk one file the other time. I uploaded it in images. So I put dash dash slash images slash talk one dot jpeg. Now I'll send this link like this particular syntax. I'll add it to the comment section. So every image that you have, if you want to reference them from your markdown files, so just make sure that you have the file name dot maybe jpg or dot png or dot whatever you have. So maybe I can use this as image name, and this dash dash slash images will not change. The only thing that will change is this stock one dot jpeg. So that's the only thing that will change. So to show the image that I want to upload. So I've pasted that in the comment section. So it's very important. Then if I want to reference external image instead of using image I have, that's why I put two images. I'll just use I'll get the image link. For example, I got this image from pixels.com. I went to search for images on machine learning and I just pasted it there. And that was also I can maybe change the description of this one to ML in case the image does not load. Then I can change this one to the DL or something like that. So I will look at it and the format is fine for me. So this is just a markdown file essentially, and I'm good to go. And I'll click on commit changes and commit changes. That's pretty much it. So it will take maybe 3 minutes for this to reflect on our page, but this is how it's going to look like when it reflects on our page. So you see that it looks very nice. This is zoomed out, but this is exactly how it's going to look like on our page, starting from this introduction to key topics covered, benefits. So this image, so it makes your work look very professional and very, very like nice. So essentially, I think that will be it for the talks page. So the other page you want to look at is the publication page. So let's look at this. We have publications. So if we come to publications page, you look at this publication folder and you click on it. The same way we had three dummy files. We also have some publication files here. So all I can do is I can come here, for example, and click on this three dotted symbol and delete this, and then come scroll to the bottom and commit changes. Subsequently, I can also delete one of this and delete file and commit changes. Now, I always tell us that it's very important to make sure that you keep one file for references so that you can always edit that file like this now. So I can look at this file. This is how it is. So if I want to create a new file now that mirrors this file, for example, all I have to do is Control A and Control C, copy everything I have here. Then I don't think I want to delete this one. So I probably come back to publications. Then I'll create, so maybe this paper now is my first paper. I want to create another new one. So I'll create new file. Now, instead of uploading files, I'm creating a markdown file. So what I want to do is create like my new publication. So I can do like something like my new publication. So I always ensure that there's no space in the title. Then I paste what I copied from the other one. So this way, and make sure that you save this as .md. So .md is for markdown files. So automatically now it understand that okay, this is going to be a markdown file. So the paper title can be maybe maize cultivation, cultivation. Then I can have the collection with publications. I'm not changing that. Now the link I want to change this to is I want to change this date to maybe I published this paper last month, May maybe first. Then the paper title, I can just change to this maize cultivation. So once again, please, there should be no space like this. So that's why we keep one of those templates so that we can use. So you just copy, create a new file, and use it. So I can just write that this paper, maybe like a brief description. This paper is about cultivating maize. Then the dates are actually published again. I will change that to 2024 05, then 01. Now this venue now, maybe I uploaded this in KNU journal. So KNU, maybe they have a journal and I create this in KNU journal. Now you see this paper URL, they put academicpages.github.io. So our own and the title of our page is not academic pages. So like my own is Sam Aregbesola. So I can change that. Then this paper one.pdf. So we have to make sure that we upload the file before we come here. So if you want to upload the file, you can add it here. If you don't want to upload the file, then you can just leave this link blank. So I can leave this link blank, for example, like this. And that's pretty much it. Now, for citation, you can copy how the citation is provided by your journal and paste here. So that if anybody wants to cite you, they will see it from here. Then I can just give a brief description about this work and say this paper exam, maybe the abstract. I just paste the abstract here. And that's all. Then if I want someone to be able to download the paper, I put download paper. So this is a link to show download paper here. Then I'm pasting down my link again. That's this paper URL. What was inside paper URL before? So make sure that the link will not change. That will be Sam Aregbesola, for example, .github.io/files. Now the only thing that will be changing is the name of the file. So the exact name of the file. Maybe for example, it was paper 3. So I put this as paper 3. So the exact name is what you put here. And I think I'm pretty much satisfied with what I have here. So I can save this. So I've just created a new file now. This now create my new publication. So essentially, it will show up here now as .md file. So for example, let's go back to our page. I think we made some changes the other time. So let's refresh the page. Let's come to talks. So if you come to talks now, we see that machine learning history shows up on our page. The other two, they have been deleted. So if I click on this machine learning history, so anybody that comes, this is how they see my page. So you see, it looks very lovely. And they can share on Twitter, they can share on Facebook, share on LinkedIn. So if I come to publications now, the changes will know it. Okay, it will know that I've reflected the new changes we made. So it maybe in like 2 minutes it will reflect. But you realize that the other two publications we deleted, they are no longer there. So it has deleted those ones for us. Now for blog posts, the same format. So the file we are interested in, come back to code, we could look for posts. So they have like a lot of dummy posts here. So we can delete all of this and keep one. Remember to always keep one. So, but for time's sake, we'll not be editing it. So what I want to just do is show that okay, this is the file. So all I just want to do is maybe change the blog name to this, maybe how to use Python to scrape data, for example, or how to use ChatGPT, or how to use Python for water something something analysis, whatever research you do. So you want to like teach people. So it helps to create stuff for publicity for you or whatever. Then you change the date of the blog to the day you're creating the blog post. So this post now, you change this date to 2024, for example, maybe today's date zero, just the month. Then the title of the blog can be title of the whatever you're creating. Then these tags are very important. So for example, you see that I have cool posts now. I have category one. So for example, I might say this one as tutorials like that. Maybe you want to have different kind of blog posts where you have some that are tutorials, you have some that are just lifestyle. Do you understand? Maybe lifestyle posts. You have some. So those tags now, it will show up on the page in such a way that if somebody clicks on those tags, for example, they can always see all of your tutorials. I always want to filter your blog posts and only see tutorials. Then I will see tutorials. So you can have as many categories as one. So maybe a post can fall under tutorials and still fall under lifestyle. So just make sure that that's why I said we always keep one of those files as reference. So if you want to create a new one, you can easily copy everything that is here, then go. So I'm not really committing this. I don't want to make any edits here. I can always come back to blog posts. So I'll go to code, click on posts. So that's for blog posts. Then create a new file. That's create a new file. Name it as new blog post. Remember to add .md. .md is so add that to our comment section. So .md is markdown file extension. Then I easily paste what I copied. So it gives me like a template so I can just edit. Then this will be the major area where I can add my formatting, my markdown text formatting. Then always remember again that the title is your is your H1. So if I change this now to new blog.md, automatically it will recognize that formatting that we just did. So and that's it. So if I remove .md, it doesn't recognize it anymore. But if I do .md, it recognizes the format that we just entered. So that's pretty much it. So I'm not committing anything. So that's it for the blog post. Finally, I want us to look at CV. So for the CV, we want to come to pages underscore pages. So remember that pages is where we edited our about. So what shows up on our page when somebody comes to our page. So all of this stuff that showed up, that's where we edited it under this pages folder. Then CV is there. Now for this CV, we make some quick edits. So for the CV, we can leave everything at the top as is. For this education, I can change it to maybe BSc in um, agricultural engineering, for example. Then save this as change the university to maybe University of Illinois. Then add the year I finished. So change this to maybe 2019, for example. Then maybe my MS, I'm currently doing my MS here in agric civil engineering. So I can change that. And instead of GitHub University now, I can book National University, and I can put maybe the date I expect to finish and put it as maybe I expect to finish my this thing in 2024. I can put it as expected like this. So I can remove this PhD, for example, if I don't have a PhD yet. So my work experience, I can add maybe 2021. So I can add maybe data analyst, for example, then add maybe where I worked. So I can add Aregbe and Sons, for example. So maybe that's where I did my stuff. So I can add my duties, something like web scraping, for example, and then I can move whatever this is. So I can also add maybe another experience. Then for skills, maybe I can add that maybe I know JavaScript, so I can add JavaScript. Maybe I know Python. So maybe inside Python now, maybe the things I actually know, I can add them as a sub skill here and say maybe I know I know how to use pandas and NumPy and maybe any of those visualization libraries, maybe Seaborn. Then I can also come here and add another skill that I want or just remove it. So for publications now, the publications you have on your page, you don't touch this part. So this part is dynamic. So it will just go and check that your publications page and it will reflect like maybe three publications there. So for example, your talks too, you can show on your CV. Your teaching, for example, I don't have teaching experience, so I can delete this. Service and leadership, I can say, for example, that I am president of one association like that. So maybe one association. So that's the name. I can add another service and leadership. I can say maybe copies 2018, blah blah blah. So something like that. I just add like whatever service and leadership I find. So you can add any other category you want to add to, but you have to follow this format. So the title, this honors, we have 11 equals to symbols underneath the title. Then you use star like this, spacing, star and spacing. So to create bullet points, you can also use dash and spacing to create bullet points. You can use star and spacing too. So essentially, I'm satisfied. Majorly, what we wanted to edit was the education, the work experience, the skills. Publications to remain as is. Just leave it. Talks, if you want talks to appear, you can leave it. If you don't want it to appear in your CV, you can easily remove it. Then I think I'm satisfied with what I have. So I can just click on commit changes and commit the changes. So I want to check back this pages section and refresh and see when the last time I made any change. So maybe 7 minutes ago. So I want to refresh. Let me go back to the home page. Let me refresh this. Now, if I go to, I'm not sure publications. Yeah, I think I did one new publication. I'm not sure it's reflected. Okay, yes, it reflected now. So maize cultivation. So if you see it, so if I click on maize cultivation now, so it shows that okay, this is paper three. So and maybe this is paper I attached. So it will download that paper for me, and that's pretty much it. So um, I think I closed that page by mistake. Okay, yes. So I think for the CV, it will take 1 or 2 minutes to actually reflect. So I would leave it to reflect then. I think personally, we're pretty much done with majority of what we want to do. So once again, I'll give a quick recap. So we looked at markdown files and how to actually format markdown files. So I told us that we had this I think we had this handy, I'm not sure wherever that is. Okay. Yes, we had this handy cheat sheet that I provided the link. So the link is on our group. For those that are just joining us again, I provide the link now. So it's like we have headings and we can have 6 kind of headings. Then we have bold text, and this is how we format bold text. We can format italic text in this way. We have ordered list, unordered list. We have horizontal line. Then this is how we format links and then images. So and we played around here just to show us how that works. So we looked at heading one up to heading six. Then we looked at bold text. I told us that, for example, if I remove this, if I put space like this now, this text will no longer be bold. So I have to make sure that the beginning and the end, there is no spacing. So if I put spacing at the end here, it will no longer be bold. So now it is bold. So the beginning and the end, remember that there will be no spacing. For our heading, the same thing. If you don't add spacing, this heading one will not be a heading anymore. So when I add spacing, it becomes an heading. So it's very easy. Then for the what did they call it? For the ordered list, I told us we can have list within lists, and all you just have to do is one, then the first list. So if you just want to have normal list like this, you can have two directly under it and second item and as many lists as you want. So this is how this list looks like. So I told us for another list, we use dash. So we can also use something like star like this to create like one template. So for example, we're using dash, so just use dash. Then I told us for links, you write the name of the link in square brackets. Then in parentheses, you attach the actual link. And when anyone clicks on the link, it will visit facebook.com. For images, it's the same way with links. But before the square brackets, you add an exclamation mark. Then you add the source, like the image link. So I told us that if for our own folder, for example, we have something like dash dash slash images slash then the image name dot if it's png you add dot png, so something like that, then it will deploy it. But if you want an external link, you can easily paste. If you are just copy the link and paste it here and it will show up on the page the same way this is showing up on the page. So for horizontal lines, we just put three dash symbols like this, and this is an horizontal line at the bottom of the page. So we also joined GitHub. So we registered for GitHub accounts. Then we visited a particular repo, and the repo we visited was I think the repo was top.com slash Samuel this. So this was the repo we visited, and then we copied what we had in that particular repo. So I told us that to copy stuff, we call it fork, that's fork in GitHub. So we copied it, and after copying it, so if I try to copy it, I tell me I already have my own copy. So we copied it, then we changed the name to our own particular name. So I told us that when we are creating usernames in GitHub, we should use descriptive username. So like me, my username on GitHub is Sam Aregbesola. So it makes me look professional at what I'm doing. So then afterwards, we edited the about this section here, and we changed the name of the link to samaregbesola.github.io. So finally, we came to settings, then we came to pages, and I told us to click source, deploy from a branch, choose master. Before it was none, so we chose master, then root. Root will show up by default. Then we click on save. So finally, I told us to go back to code. I told us that we can have folders and files. So the first file we actually edited was the config.yml file. And what we did in the config.yml file, this is how we edit. We click on this pencil icon. We edited the name. We edited this name too, the title of the page to our name. We edited this name. We edited the description of the page. We edited the URL. I told us to change the URL to, like me, for example, that would be sam.aregbesola.github.io. Then the repository, I told you your repository is shows up at the top. Your name, the name, your username is the first name here. Then the link, sam.aregbesola.github.io, is the second part of the repository. So finally, we came to site author. We edited the name. We left this avatar as is. I changed my bio to researcher, for example. Then location to Daegu, South Korea. I told us we can attach our Google Scholar link, our email. Just make sure we attach them in quotes like this, inside of quotes. Then you can attach your ResearchGate links, your GitHub link if you want, your OSID link like this, your Twitter link, um, anything you have, LinkedIn and the like. So you can attach all of them. Then I told us when we want to make changes, we click on commit changes. So commit changes shows up on the right, and we commit the changes. So I told us that it usually takes like 2 to 3 minutes for those new things that we actually commit to reflect on our page. So we go back to code, and then we now looked at all of the pages that we had on our stuff. So first thing, we came to data, we came to navigation.yml, and we deleted some of those links that we did not need. So with, like for me, for example, I did not have teaching experience, so I deleted teaching experience. So if you have teaching experience, you can leave the teaching experience as is. So if I want to add teaching experience again, I can edit this file, copy one of these and paste it, and just change to teaching, then slash teaching, and that's pretty much it. So we also edited the blog authors. Then we came to pages, and we edited the about.md. So this is where we started using markdown files. So what we learned about markdown files, and I showed us that this page, this is how it looks like. The title is my name. Then I stored the excerpt as my academic portfolio, and here I just wrote markdown about myself. So my what did they call it? Let me do this, for example. I saved this as let me commit change. So I put my name, my talked about my education, my hobbies, and stuff like that. This is what people see when they first come to my page. So we went back to code, and then we went to images, and I told us that the profile picture that showed up on the default page. So the default page we visited was this page. So this profile picture that showed up, I showed us that it is a dummy image that is called profile.png. So I told us to create a image called profile.png on our system. Try to convert, if it's a JPEG image you have, convert it to a PNG image and save the name as profile. So we uploaded profile.png, and now this is profile.png for us on our page. So we also uploaded any other image we needed. So now when we go to my page, this is the image that is showing up now, because the image name is profile.png. So the links we edited to from here, we can see that Daegu South Korea was showing up, researcher was showing up. Then all these links, they point out to my different profile. Then this just shows like, okay, gives a brief summary about me. Then we came to let me come back to code. So we came back to publications for, I think, was it publication? I think we started with talks. So we came to talks, then we deleted all of the talk folders. We left one of them. I told us to always leave one of those files. So we edited it. We changed the title of the talk to maybe machine learning history. Then the we changed this to the date where we gave the talk, and then the title of the talk. We use dash instead of spacing in between them to use to create the permalink. Then I added the venue as Kyompuk, I added the date and location. Then this is a simple markdown file. I told us that our title is always our heading one. So we created a markdown file and we just put introduction, key topics covered, benefit and advantages. We also added images. I told us that for our images, when we upload image to our image folder, then we just have to make sure that we know the name here. So if we are referencing the image in this file, we use the same format we use to reference images. Then we put dash dash slash images slash whatever the name is of the image. So we can also reference external link of images. So like this image, I got it from pixel.com, and I think that was pretty much it. So for these talks, when we go to talks now, we find out that this is how it shows up on the page. So if I click on it now, this is it. And it looks like very, very good. And people can share on whatever platform they want. So we also looked at publications. So we came to publications page. So there are so many publications. We deleted some of them. Then we left one, and I told us that we can just edit that one and change it to whatever you want. So, for example, we we created a dummy publication. I told us that when we are creating markdown files, we have to make sure that we put the name and then we add .md to show that it's a markdown file. Then this is how the syntax looks like. We had the title, so we had the perma. So I told us to make sure that we just copy all of this from the previous publication and paste, so we can just edit. So for example, we put KNU journal, the name of our file. So I also showed us the file folder where we can upload these files. So make sure that the name does not have space. So you reference that file from here. Then you can even put download the file here and attach the link to it. Then you add the recommendation citation, the recommended citation you want. So you can just pick 3 or 4 of your major publications and add to your page. It's very, very helpful. So from there, we also came to blog posts, and I told us that it's the same format where we have different blog posts and you can edit and create blog posts. So for the CV, that was the final one we edited. It's under this pages folder and about, I think that was CV, not about. So cv.md. So what we did here was we edited the education, then we edited the work experience, then the skills. I told us to leave publication as is. We can leave talks. If I don't want talks, for example, I can delete it and commit. So always note that those commits that we always commit, they take at least 3 minutes to reflect on the page. So for example, if I come to CV now, all things being equal, now my CV is reflecting this. So work experience is reflecting this. Skills, publications are here. So if someone clicks on this publication now, it brings them to that publication file that I uploaded before. So it's very, very nice, very, very handy. Then talks, it shows them that machine learning history where I gave that talk, and if they click on it, it brings them here. So essentially, it's a very nice place. Then maybe service as leadership. I just created one dummy service, whatever I had, and that's pretty much it. So for now, I think we are pretty much done. But one more thing I want to show us is that now this is the link, samaregweshola.github.io. If you are not interested in, maybe you want your link to be .com, there's a website they call namecheap.com. So if I come to namecheap.com, I want to create maybe samaregweshola.com, and I check samaregweshola.com. Then I search, I click on search button. So I will zoom in on this so that it's a little bit big. So it tells me that Samaregweshola is available. And if I want to use Samaregweshola, I have to pay $6 per year. So I think from in Korean won, that's $6.98 to dollars to Korean won. That's around like less than 10K Korean won every year. Like it's very, very easy. Like that's what they charge me to create a .com account, like something. But now it even shows me that because I am a newcomer, this is the first time I'm visiting this website. I can use this newcom 598 to actually to if I add to cart and I want to actually buy it. So it shows me that all of this is available there. All I also have to do is check out. So it will ask me for promo code. If I pass that promo code and apply, so it will give me that promo code. Then I don't know. I think you probably need to create an account before you do all of this. So sign up and create an account, then you'll be logged in, and that's pretty much. So you just provide. So I'll pay like less than 10K one every year for this. Now, when I have samaregweshola.com registered, all I have to do is go back to my GitHub. Now that's settings, then pages, Then if you check, I have a custom domain now. If I have custom domain, samaregbesola.com, then I paste it here. So .com rather. So, and I click on save, bam, and pretty much I have access to that, and I can literally have my website as samaregbesola.com. But if you are satisfied with github.io, it's very fine too. So you can leave it like this. A lot of people leave it like this, but essentially you can do whatever it is you want to do. So I'll paste in the link to Namecheap. So it's very, very easy to set up, like very, very intuitive. And if you have problems setting it up, you can always reach out to me. So you just I feel like it's very responsible to actually use maybe a .com domain. So one thing that GitHub provides for students is an education platform. So as a student, you can go to, I think, GitHub Education. So if I search for GitHub Education and I want to register, I can join Global Campus, for example. And if I click on Join Global Campus, it will ask me, am I a student? Yes. So all I have to do is I'm already a student. So I've already shown them before that I'm a student. But what's it provides is it will ask you to enter your school mail. So if you enter your school mail, for example, it will try to confirm. It will send like a dummy mail. The mail will not come in, but it will just send a dummy mail to your school email, then confirm that okay, this person is a student. Do you understand? Once the email goes through to confirm you're a student, then with that you have access to certain perks. Now, one of the advantages you have access to as a student is free access to 1 year subscription of Namecheap. So if I click on Namecheap now here, this is I have access to Namecheap. So it shows me that I can create a .me domain. So instead of .com now, I can have something like samaregbesola.me for free for 1 year if I want because of GitHub. So if I click get access by connecting your GitHub account on Namecheap, it will give me access to that. Then I can get samaregbesola.me. So if I want .me instead for free for a year, then I can do that. So that's one of the perks of getting maybe education.github.io .com, register and get your stuff. So I feel like we've learned quite a lot, and we'll be taking questions for like maybe the next 10 minutes, then we'll round off. Okay, so if you have any questions, please, I want us to, you can, our comments are also, well, they will also be well received. And before you can please signify by raising up your hand. Then, finally, I also want us to know that I've recorded this session, like everything we did today, I've recorded as it's currently showing on our YouTube page. So you can always go to YouTube and check it. But I'm also going to record like a very short tutorial, less than an hour, that contain everything we did today, and I'll upload on the GitHub page to properly, on our YouTube page properly. So we'll have it on our YouTube page. So maybe people in future you can come, you can also send to your friends in other schools and every other thing. So you can use it to grow our KNU page because we need our page to be very active, our YouTube page. So we'll create the contents there and we'll upload it there for people so they can always have access to everything we have access to today. So if you have any questions, please, I think I'll leave the mic to Engineer Hamza.
Yeah, thank you so much, presenter, for this wonderful presentation. So we'd like to take more questions. But before we take question, I would just like to keep a quick comment. So usually, in addition to the GitHub development package, for almost every website or every product, there's always the student pack, which allows you to do a lot of things for free. For instance, for Coursera, if you want to take a course on Coursera, you pay $49. But if you're a student, you can have access to just one course. And in addition to the GitHub dev, you can also have access to Microsoft because I think I've been using the Microsoft from GitHub for the last 1 year. That's from the dev this thing. So there's a lot of advantages there. There's even Icon Scouts where you could get icons for your designs and all of that. So it's a good thing. And for everything you want to do, just always try to go and look for the student pack. And with your email address, you can unlock a lot of things. So if you have any questions, please, we can ask. Questions, comments, feedbacks? You can just indicate by raising your hand up. Okay, Nsa-Knu is raising the hand up. Who is Nsa-Knu? Geneva Sekore? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So I think the first one you said the profile of PNG. So for me, come to pictures here. This profile.png, I had this image as a PNG on my system already. So all I just did was renamed it to profile. But all I'm just saying now is that if you don't have um, the image in PNG format, don't do something like profile.png like this. So it will not, that change you commit will not work when you upload it. Like when you want to create the image, it will not, it will create the image as profile.png.jpg because GitHub will recognize the actual format. So what I'm just saying is that people that don't have, maybe I have an image of myself now, a headshot of myself. What I want to do is take go online and look for maybe any service that converts JPG to PNG like this. Then click on it, upload that image, and then download it. So when I'm done downloading, I'll rename it as to profile, and that's all. So when I go to my images folder and upload it, automatically it will overwrite the former image, and we're good to go. So for the English US that you were talking about, so essentially what we have here when we come to the config file, this config.yml, what is saying this local is I like a time how will I put it now? The locale in this sense now in I don't know how to bring it down to our kind of make it quite easy. But you can change, you can check for your local and change it. You don't have to worry about whatever. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just saying that this is in English, the US variant, like English US. I can have English UK, for example. I can have English Australia, English NG as much as I like. So you can search online for all the locales. But Korean is not an English speaking country. So this stuff is English. Like what we're doing, majority of what we're doing is English US. And even the time format we're using is like the US format. So that's why we just left as is. So you don't have to worry about that. Even Korea, they use the English, the US kind of date for their day, for their format and everything. So you can, if you are maybe moving to the UK, you can always change to UK. Then your date format you can always change if you want. But for now, I think this is fine as is. Now, finally, for the teams, yes, there are different teams. So if you check the top of this file, you see welcome to Jekyll. So Jekyll is a kind of I don't know, I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Yes. So I think, yeah. So Jekyll is a templating platform, like a website. So they have like different templates. So what I'll do is, I don't know if this file in its own now, me personally now, I actually write code. So I can, there's certain folders here now that I can easily come to. So there's SAS here now. So SAS here is writing code. This majority of the code that are on the page. I can modify as I please. I can change it to whatever format I want it to look like. But it's because I write code. But now, where many of us don't write code, for example. So saying we're going to change that file would probably be, I'm saying I telling people, showing people all of this now would look like make this very difficult. So I feel basically we can start with something that looks like this, and then if you notice, I'm coming. Let me come up. Let me come to this folder here now. So if you notice this fork button, you see that we have 29K. So that means 29,000 people actually took this particular template and they use this kind of template in their website. And I'm 100% sure that out of that 29,000 people, like the vast majority did not bother changing the templates. They just want that, okay, I have a very nice looking stuff that presents me online. And I've modified it to my own taste, like in terms of content, not in terms of styling. Now, for Jekyll templates, they're actually different templates. Now, I think if I search here, I'm not sure. So what I want to do is search for theme and see if there's anything like theme. There's no theme. Um, I'm coming. There's no theme per se, but what I will do is I will look for, so that we don't waste time. I'll look to see if we can specify. So if I come to this site now and I check for, if I come to Jekyll themes, there are quite a couple of themes. So there's this kind of themes where we have this, where we have something that looks like this, the mvm.github.io. So this is how this looks like. So this kind of theme is very nice. Then there are a couple of them like that. So there are a couple of them here. So I want to check if it is possible to just use one of the name of these things. So if it's possible, I'll probably find a way to do that, so that maybe some of us, our templates can even be maybe dark, like our site to be dark, something that looks somewhat like this. So something that looks somewhat like this. So something that looks somewhat like this. Somewhat like this. So I don't know, depending on, so there are a lot of templates for Jekyll templates. Now the problem with this is it involves that people actually write code to actually work with most of those templates. This particular template we're using is academic. It is templated for academics fully. Now, if you write code, you can style it in such a way that you can edit the way it looks. But I'm primarily concerned about the content, not the styling. I think, but once again, I'll try to see if we can actually get other teams that we'll probably be able to use without even writing any piece of code. So thank you very much for the question. It's a very lovely question. My image is supposed to be somewhere here, but this one is, so I think yes, I would probably review the teams and then I'll send to us. So I'll send to us on the group. Then I think the president will share it with us too, and I'll send it to our respective mails too. That's if there's a way to actually just change the thing without writing any significant code. Thank you very much, sir. So do we have any other questions? Any other questions? Any other question? Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So I think there's no more. There's no questions anymore. All right. Engineer Hamza, sir. Okay. President, sir.
Um, Afi Bugbole
Yes, sir.
um, good evening, everyone. It's my honor and pleasure to do the closing remark for today's program. And firstly, I would like to appreciate the efforts and the contribution of the guest speaker for today's section. It's really insightful, and I believe many of us will have learned so many things. We so much appreciate your efforts, your concern, and your contribution towards the skill development of a member of NSA. Thank you very much. May the Almighty God reward you abundantly. Also, I also use this opportunity to appreciate the committee, the knowledge sharing committee, for giving us this wonderful section today. As we usually have it every month, we so much appreciate your effort, your time, and your energy for organizing this program. Thank you very much. And also to all the participants, I could see the VP Sanju. Thank you very much for joining today's section. Thank you very much, everyone. I wish we all have a wonderful night. Good night, all. Thank you. And the tax refund.
Good